This broadcast is brought to you by Colby Brooks with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs. Thanks for joining us on NEA Report. Tonight's rundown of our broadcast includes a look at a fatal officer-involved shooting that happened in Manila. Limited details on this, but we'll tell you everything we know. Also, Egypt's mayor has responded after his former police chief was arrested, but the response is really not a big response, so keep your expectations low. But maybe something we can increase expectations on, how to make the city of Jonesboro more beautiful, and we've got a way that the mayor is trying to make happen. We'll tell you about it next on NEA Report right now.
Stan Morris reporting.
Arkansas State Police are investigating a fatal officer-involved shooting that happened in Manila. It was last night that it took place, late Tuesday or early Wednesday, since it happened around midnight, and we don't have the precise time right now. We're putting both of those in there just to be accurate. What we know right now is pretty limited, but what we can tell you so far is that one person was killed and a single officer was involved in some type of struggle with this person. Christopher Palmer, 37, of Manila, is the man who was deceased. Sergeant Mike Shively, the officer, I believe, of the city of Manila, is on leave right now. In the incident, very few details are available right now. Arkansas State Police did confirm to me that they're looking into the incident, conducting an investigation for use of deadly force by a law enforcement officer. But all inquiries are being directed to the Manila Police Department. We know also the prosecutor, Scott Ellington, who was probably up late the night before with the elections, also made his way out to the scene. At about 1 a.m., he received a call Wednesday morning, he said to NEA Report today, and then went to the scene and did a walkthrough and was given a rundown by authorities on the scene. We don't have the video. We don't even have a description yet or a statement from the officer about what happened. And I know a lot of people have been making posts already asking questions about it. As soon as we get information on this, we will try to update you on that, and we will be asking all of the questions that you're asking to us. We'll be taking those to authorities and asking as well. So stay with NEA Report, and we will follow this story. So continuing our coverage of the situation that's been unfolding in Egypt with the arrest of their former police chief, Gerald Goza, on charges of impersonating an officer, or charge of, should say. Well, we now got a statement from the mayor, although he didn't issue it to us, I should point out. He issued it to another news outlet, but that's okay. And we're going to show you what he's saying right now, because he said the city attorney advised him to not talk about it, in essence, even though he's evaded questions from the media since the beginning. And apparently he has an explanation for that too. Quote, I am aware of the allegations and charges against Mr. Goza. I have been advised by Rhonda Davis, our city attorney, to not comment at this time on the situation. As a small-town mayor, I also have a full-time job which limits the response time on emails. Mayor Jerry Cook to Region 8 News in an explanation not only on why he seems to have a hard time responding to people's questions, but also as to why he can't really talk about it. For some reason, the city attorney is offering personal legal advice to him in a situation that a lot of people are asking if he may be culpable in, just because there are questions, if nothing else, of how this guy, Gerald Goza, could continue acting, I guess I should say allegedly, according to the number of people we've talked to, continue acting as an officer of the law when he legally no longer should have been. After a statement was sent from law enforcement certification to not just Goza, but to Mayor Jerry Cook. Now, we're told those were the only two people to get it. We're told that's why the sheriff's department did not know what was happening was outside of the law. What was happening, of course, being Goza still acting in a law enforcement capacity. But there's some other stuff here to talk about, because in at least one of the instances of Goza acting as a law enforcement officer, Region 8 News reports the chief told investigators he responded at the request of the mayor. We're led to believe that it is at the request of the same mayor, Jerry Cook, who somehow was unaware that this Egypt police car was still outside of Goza's home, even though he had received the letter that was dated January 9th. This letter that says Goza advised Klest he had duplicated another officer's certificate. Well, we have a few questions. Since the mayor is having a lot of time right now between his other work and doesn't have time to really respond to emails, we thought we would just put the questions here and maybe he can email us and tell us what he thinks. Question 1. Did you not see that Goza had been fired twice before? Specifically from Cash and from Alicia. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Because I want to also ask, did you not know that he didn't have his GED? Were you unaware of this? It kind of ties into the first question because this was the reason he was fired in 2010. Failure to provide valid GED, Cache Police Department. The same department that the mayor's previous statement said he had worked for, in an almost defense of, well, he worked there, why couldn't he work here? Well, maybe because he had got fired from there and you didn't look at it. Maybe. Don't know. Would like an answer to that question. Also, there was termination from Alicia 2 years later. That's another one of the questions I want to ask. Did he not see that? And here's the major question I have. Well, one of two that are left. After everything that happened with Stephen Warren, the citizen who was making records requests and who had made a number of records requests and was getting denied those records requests, according to the lawsuit, quote, FOIA crap, unquote, was the statement made by the mayor about he's not going to mess with that. Of course, he ended up having to, and he's still supposed to attend FOIA training. Assumingly, Goza was supposed to attend it as well, but it's since been learned he's not been acting legally as a police officer. But what's concerning is Stephen Warren was arrested multiple times for trying to expose this by Mayor Jerry Cook and Chief Goza. It was supposedly on Mayor Cook's orders that Goza arrested him. And the mayor is considered a law enforcement officer. He does have those authorities. It's not often used, but in many of the cases and some of the training that's attended by Goza in his FOIA file that I've received that's 200 plus pages, it seems like the mayor attended training alongside of Goza, law enforcement training. And so the final question is, were you unaware that Goza was still acting as law enforcement in Egypt, apparently since January 9th, at least late February, possibly after some of our reporting on this, which is out of this world to me, the boldness that one would have to continue acting as a law enforcement officer when they are legally not supposed to be. And we've exposed that. If that's the case, if you're so busy that you can't keep up with the police car illegally pulling people over in your town, do you think maybe that the citizens there need somebody that's got a little more time? It's a fair question because his statement says he has a full-time job. He doesn't have time to respond to emails, or it's limited. And he's also getting personal legal advice from the city attorney, which is questionable, that she should be being paid by taxpayers to help the mayor out of something that, again, there seems to be a suggestion of culpability here. I don't know as far as what potential statute violations he could possibly be facing, because it does not appear he impersonated a cop. If he authorized Goza to, and ignored the letter, it raises a serious ethical question. But sometimes, if there's not literally no other way, people get out of charges that are in charge. Not to use the same word there multiple times, different meaning. But I think you understand what I'm saying. If there's no other way to charge him, then of course he'll be charged, as Goza's case proves. We just have to wait and see. And maybe the mayor will have time to email us back. We would love to have a live interview with the mayor if he has 5 or 10 minutes. even record it. But as of right now, the former police chief of the city of Egypt is facing a felony charge of criminal impersonation after at least 2 documents were forged, including the one on your screen right there, a radar certification, also a high school diploma, GED. And apparently, at least a month after being decertified, and evidence shows a month and some time, still acting as law enforcement in a city where the mayor knew he was no longer supposed to be a cop. If you're wondering why we were just disconnected from our stream, that's a good question, because we're wondering that too. We think it's Suddenlink, so that's who we're going to blame. That's who we have internet service from. Nonetheless, apologies. Yes, we did just get disconnected in the middle of the stream. Technology sometimes limits how these things happen, but when you're watching live, well, that's also a bit of the fun, I guess. It's sometimes rebounding from a mistake. Let's move on to the next story. So finally, tonight, I want to try to encourage as many people as I can to get interested and possibly even apply for the Beautification Commission in Jonesboro. The mayor introduced this idea at this week's city council meeting. And basically, the idea is getting the community involved in cleaning up the community. You've seen the side roadways with trash all over it, up and down. I've spent hours of my days off actually trying to help pick some of that stuff up. It's a really rewarding experience if you've never cleaned up an entire road or filled up the back of your truck with garbage that should not have been in a ditch. It's fun. It is fun. But it's also something that helps our whole community out. And if we find ways to make it a community activity, then we might be able to seriously improve our city, property values, just the visuals of the city to outsiders. It's a good thing. It's a good cause. So if you're interested in this, the City of Jonesboro's website is where you can apply, jonesboro.org. You can just go to neareport.com and click on this story for all the information, and maybe we'll see you there at the Beautification Commission, as the mayor is looking for applicants right now. Well, Mark Tree Police are hoping to reunite an owner with their lost possessions. A little bit of lost and found action for you as we close out the broadcast here. We're not talking about something that's probably really going to be claimed, although if it does, I can promise you it will be another news story. Because it looks like crystal meth on the left and pot on the right. It may be something else. It's a white crystalline substance and a small baggie of a green leafy substance. But make no mistake, it's drugs. Police were asking if anybody lost this at a local business to come forward. Come to Mark Tree Police Department to claim your property, and also probably a jail sentence as well. Most people were laughing at it. One person I saw was offended. She said, "Drugs kill people. This is not funny." And wow, she's not going to be happy with this segment, is she? Thanks for joining us on NEA Report. Sometimes the broadcast is a little bit more unusual than others, but we do appreciate you for sticking with us here. If you'd like extra stuff, we have extra stuff for you, and it's super cheap because it keeps the lights on. We want to tell you about it now. Become a supporter, and once a week, minimum, you get an exclusive broadcast. Also, as we give you headlines in text form, too, that you're not going to get anywhere else. But this week, we have a special local media celebrity guest that's going to be on the broadcast. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we really do appreciate everybody that's joining us and that's able to become a supporter. Hundreds of you already have, and as mentioned, it really does help us out a lot. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stan Morris reporting in Jonesboro. Hope you have a great night. Now you're up to date from NEA Report. And remember, thanks to our sponsor, Colby Brooks with Century 21, Right Pace Real Estate, and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs.